Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great day because we have a new GameCube controller from Nintendo. I mean, it's been almost 24 years just about here, right? And now we have a new wireless GameCube controller from Nintendo that's not linked to Smash Brothers. In fact, it's linked to the GameCube itself because that is available for the Switch too. And as we've seen with every one of these NSO releases, even from Sega, we get a controller from Nintendo that's created for the Switch or now the Switch 2. So I wanted to open this up, check it out, and I do also have my trusty Platinum GameCube controller here, one of the originals, that we can compare it to. Get a good idea of the feel right here, then go right to this new game controller to see just how close Nintendo got this. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. We're going to start today with this video sponsor.
Today's video is sponsored by JSO. The Switch 2 is now out, which means it's time to talk accessories. JSO has a wide range to choose from for your new hybrid device. The shock-absorbent storage case not only provides military-grade protection for your system, but also stores several game cartridges, and thanks to its side cutout, will let you charge the Switch 2 without removing the case. Speaking of cartridges, if you want to keep track of them easily while being able to store each one for travel, check out the Game Card Case 40. Not only can you store up to 40 game cards, but also 40 microSD cards alongside of them. If you're looking to keep the system as slim as possible while adding protection, the full cover case set is custom designed to perfectly snap into place and surround your Switch 2 while still allowing the Joy-Cons to detach. There's a cutout on the back that lets the kickstand be used fully as well. The multi-mode joystick cap and thumb grip is a great way to not only cover your Joy-Con sticks, but also level up your control in-game. These covers provide different heights and feel, letting you customize to your specific playstyle. Check out the entire line of Switch 2 accessories from JSO by clicking the link in the description below and take your new system to the next level. Thanks to JSO for sponsoring today's video.
So this controller was up for sale on the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Online Store, and they had it as a one per account thing. I managed to get my order in, and I got it I think the day after the Switch 2 came out, so it got to me relatively quickly, I'd say, or at least close enough to being on time. Now, this one in particular, which you can see, is wireless, and of course is sort of, at least I'd say, following along with the Wavebird controller. That kind of, I'd say, really kicked things off for more high-quality wireless controllers from first-party manufacturers. Now, I will admit, this is a controller that is hard for people to get because it sells out very quickly. So if you're someone who wants to use GameCube controllers on your Switch 2, keep in mind you can use the Wii U GameCube adapter. If you already have GameCube controllers, just pick that up if you don't already have it, and there you go. You can plug in your GameCube controllers, and it works fine. You can do up to 4 players. I've tried it. It worked great for the NSO GameCube adapter, or the app, I'm sorry. So we have this. It's just kind of encased in black cardboard. So I feel like I point this out a lot, but it is worth pointing out once again here with Nintendo. They do give you a cable with your controllers, and it looks like that's it there, but that's actually becoming more of an outlier in general because Sony or Microsoft, they don't really give you controller cables consistently, whereas Nintendo, every controller I've opened so far for the Switch 2, or even grips in some cases, they give you another one. So this being a USB-C to Type A. This one's about a 4-foot cable, but that's generally enough to plug it into your Switch 2, the dock, or plug it into a wall somewhere with a wall charger, or even a computer or something, and be able to charge it up there. Otherwise, though, we have our controller. They do have some plastic behind it. Kind of nice just to at least be able to protect it somewhat there, and then that's sort of it. Okay, so let's see how this feels. It's okay, so that is pretty close. Now, it's worth noting this controller here is what? It's the Platinum, so it's 23 years old now, so the plastic is going to have a bit more of, I think, a smoothness. Of course, it's degraded somewhat. It doesn't feel the same in terms of plastic, and it's going to be very difficult to get it exactly the same. Oh, this is very close, though. A, B, X. Yeah, okay, so the buttons themselves A has more of a spring to it. Again, this is an older controller, so that makes sense. B is close. C is like exact. D-pad, a little stiffer on the NSO controller, but again, it's also new. Oh, the stick is very close. Also, you notice that they did keep the gated control stick around it. It would have been kind of weird if they just went to all like a circular smooth gate. R and L are good. The plastic does feel a little different, but again, there's only so much they can really do with that. Markings on the back here, Nintendo, and then we have all of our markings here for wireless and certifications and stuff. That is really solid. Okay, so on the top, we do have our C button here, of course, for game chat, sync button, snapshot share button there, home button. We do have a little tiny guy right here. That's ZL. So you do, I mean, I guess you have almost enough buttons. You don't, not quite though. So you're missing, obviously, minus. You have, this would, I guess, be plus. Your start, pause, which fun that they still included that, by the way, start/pause there. They don't have enough buttons here for all the different games, so keep that in mind, and that's why Nintendo themselves specifically said, hey, it's really just compatible with NSO and that GameCube application, but the Switch 2 is going to pick it up as just a regular controller, so it could work, just don't really expect it to have enough buttons for every game. Now, unfortunately, this controller did not come with a charge, so I'm gonna have to go ahead, plug it in, let it charge for a little bit, and then we'll try it out here with my Switch 2. Okay, now that I have the controller all charged up, I do need to sync it, which I just realized after I went into the GameCube application here. So let's go back, close that down just in case, go in here and see what this shows up as. There it is. It's got a little GameCube graphic. The buttons are all colored correctly. That's a nice touch. Okay, so we have the GameCube controller in. Does work fine, which is what you get when you plug it in through that GameCube adapter anyway. So, but in this case, it is acting like a wireless GameCube controller that it recognized. It's not seeing it as like a Pro controller or something. It sees it outright as a, whoa. It changed it to like match the color of the controller. That's actually pretty awesome. I didn't realize it did that. Huh. So that's a fun touch. I don't know if we'll ever get different colors of the GameCube controller. I feel like we're just getting one, but I guess if they did different ones, then you could change this to, I don't know, I guess like platinum or like black or something. Or orange. If they give us the Japan exclusive or specific orange, like that creamsicle color, that'd be cool. But for now, it's interesting that they decided to do that as like a fun little touch for, well, spending $65 on another controller. Anyway, okay, so with this now, we have the 3 games, and it feels pretty solid in the menu, of course. Button presses are good. Let's open up Wind Waker. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm supposed to be sneaking into the fortress here. But just to get an idea of the rough controls, how everything feels with this, which means I actually don't have my sword now either. It does, I mean, it does feel like you're just playing on a GameCube. They have again, the button up here that's kind of hidden. When you press that, it at least brings up your suspend menu there. So it is at least nice to have that. And it's out of the way enough to where you wouldn't accidentally press it even when going for L right here. It is out of the way enough. D-pad is good. Well, as good as it can be. The GameCube's D-pad was kind of one of its shortcomings there. But okay, yeah, so far, this is pretty good. You know what, well, this is an unfortunate spot in Wind Waker because I don't have a bunch of items or anything I can really like run around with this kind of stealth mission. We can go back and jump into Soul Calibur. Which, if you played this on the Switch 2 with the GameCube application, it does look good. It does go into widescreen, which it saves that setting. But just Soul Calibur 2 in general, the visuals on it are timeless. Really, they work well if you have like just the GameCube hardware itself, but with some sort of HDMI adapter through that digital port on the back. It looks awesome. Even back then, through a CRT, it looked great. It probably still would now. I haven't seen it on a CRT, I'll tell you, in a long time now. Let's just go into arcade mode real quick. Been working through, just kind of unlocking some people as I go. Been playing like the Weapon Master mode and everything here and there. But I haven't played it with this GameCube controller yet. I've been using the Pro controller. Little awkward, I'll say, with the Pro controller. Although you'll get used to it because that is, of course, set up better. But this is like the... right here, this very weird looking, I'm sure to many people, button configuration is what many of us were used to when playing Soul Calibur back in the day. Especially if you played as like Link. Oh, I got him with the down thrust jump. Look at that. Sword thrust. Boom. That works well. Another classic game, but this is one we tried to play. Nate and I tried to play this online. Little sketchy there. This is a fast moving game. So it is one that I think just plays better locally. I mean, it's going to split the screen up anyway. And I'd like to think that eventually we get some new F-Zero game that maybe is set up a bit better for online play. The GameCube app in general is... I mean, it's definitely touch and go when it comes to online play. Let's see. Yeah, those are good. And the triggers, though, those analog triggers in there. Yep. Just testing the stick. Yeah, it's what you expect, right? I want a GameCube controller that feels like a GameCube controller, and guess what? The company that originally made it created a GameCube controller so it feels like you would want it to, right? It feels like a legit product. It doesn't feel like one of those third-party ones that can have like the cheap plastic and stuff. No, it's a nice controller. It's what the Wavebird probably should have been back in the day because it still has rumble. It is lighter and smaller, but that's just the Wavebird is kind of where we were with technology back then. So, I mean, it makes sense. It's what we could do, really. Yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. Of course, there's going to be the question, can you play other games with the GameCube controller? Well, this is the launch title, the big one for the Switch 2, Mario Kart World. So let's go into free roam, and yes, I mean, you can. This is a game that I obviously would have worked well with analog triggers of some kind for racing, although we've always just kind of held down A to go in Mario Kart. Just keep in mind, you have Z and ZL, so there's, see that. That works too. Yeah, I mean, you can do it. I don't know if this is going to be the move, although the Joy-Cons are so-so with comfort, even in the grip. Still, though, it's definitely not designed for this GameCube controller. But, yeah, it could work. So if you just have this GameCube controller, you have a bunch of people coming over to play Mario Kart, yeah, someone would get stuck with it, but it doesn't seem like it's a real problem. The thing with that, though, of course, with the GameCube controller, you're missing select, as an example. And some games, yes, will require you to have select. But for the most part here, it seems fine. You do also have your C button here, of course, so you can press that. Go right into creating a chat, start inviting people. So you can still do all of that, which is something you are missing if you use the GameCube controller through the Wii U adapter, along with, of course, Snapshot and a home button. So you do have some advantages here, not only being wireless, but also having all the functionality for the Switch 2.
All right, let's talk Teardown. I had previously done a disassembly for the Smash Bros. GameCube controller that Nintendo released years ago, and while many of those concepts are still used here to recreate the GameCube controller, there are some differences that I think make this worth going over. There's a bunch of tri-tip screws on the back, and that's basically expected of Nintendo at this point for everything they make, and once the back is off, you can immediately see the same setup Nintendo used for the original controller, with those back shoulder buttons sliding a switch for the analog trigger detection with a pad at the bottom when you do the full press. The rumble motor is also a standard rotating mass setup that was used in the Smash Bros. Controller, so no HD rumble here. The battery is 500 milliamp hours, and after using this controller for 2 days or so, off and on, several hours, the bar in the settings menu still says it's full, so while I can't give you an exact battery life test at this time, I'm expecting a pretty long battery life between charges here. The thing I found so interesting about this controller the further I went is just how modular everything is. The rumble motor, the D-pad, the C-stick, top button board, and battery, they're all just plugged into a main board, which would make replacement extremely easy. That said, these parts would still need to be available secondhand, but who knows, maybe over time enough of these will sell and it'll be worth it for people to look into manufacturing parts, even separate from Nintendo, to post on places like eBay. The only downside here is the charge port on the top is soldered to the board, and it's the last thing that comes out. So it's a very difficult repair, and is a shame, obviously, since it's probably the most likely part to fail outside of some random stick drift. The front-facing buttons are also not easy to get to, with everything needing to come out of the controller, so if you say you need to clean a sticky button, it's not going to be an easy process. That said, everything I looked at here, it's high quality, with the main board being fairly thick and the plastics being extremely rigid with little to no flex. There really wasn't much that could be done with this D-pad though. So without changing, of course, the complete feel and look of the original controller, Nintendo is going for a near one-to-one just setup. So it's understandable why it's like this. Just understand, it's not a great experience compared to many other third-party controllers or even Nintendo's own Switch 2 Pro controller. Otherwise, I have to hand it to Nintendo here. It's not a phoned-in release from the hardware side. It completes the look and the feel of the GameCube experience to the Switch 2, and while it is an extra $65, it actually looks like you're getting a high-quality product here for the money, and one that should last you the generation, especially if the original controller from 2001 is anything to go by. Oh, and being able to pick up this controller, turn on the Switch 2, and immediately launch into the GameCube app with a selection of games is pretty awesome. And I think in a year or two with a full library of titles to greet you could be a fun look into a very creative time for Nintendo in that 6th generation. Of course, I'm also a bit biased with the GameCube system itself, but let me know what you think about the new wireless GameCube controller from Nintendo down below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.